plans put on pause. The building of 160 affordable apartments in downtown Raleigh has been shelved. The challenges of building downtown and where the project goes from here.
Spring-like temperatures return, but it's not all sunny skies. I'm timing out when temperatures will reach the 70s and a rainy end to the week.
Refocusing response. Wake County EMS is changing the way they respond to emergencies due to population growth. What you need to know if you ever have to call 911. And check out the temperatures around the area tonight. Pretty comfortable. 40s and 50s for now. Come tomorrow, though, it's going to feel really like an early spring.
I like it. We're all about some nice weather here at 7 o'clock, and we're all about hearing from you as we cover these stories. What do you want us to talk about? This is your newscast, and we want you to get involved. So send us your feedback and questions to 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. Thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Dan Haggerty.
And I'm Ashley Rowe. Yeah, we've got so much to talk about, but we do want to start with this warm weather we've got, because it really is the talker cat. We've got highs in the 70s for the next couple of days.
3 days in a row in the 70s in February. It's all thanks to a southwest wind that we have in place. A live look over North Hills, very mild. Our southwest wind started to kick in today. It's around 7 miles per hour right now. It's going to ramp up tomorrow. That southwest wind will be around 10 to 15 miles per hour sustained. And we're looking at the potential for winds to gust 25 to 30 miles per hour during the afternoon hours. And that's really going to usher in some of that warmer air. 70 tomorrow, 73 Thursday, and 75 on Friday. But each day comes with a bit more cloud cover, and by the end of the week, rain chances begin to climb. I'll have a closer look at when you could see the best chances for rain where you live coming up.
75, I like it. Now let's get to a story right now happening at 7 o'clock. The town council in Holly Springs, they're set to vote on a non-discrimination ordinance. Brian Schrader joining us. He's tracking this from the WRAL Live Center. These were all over, I remember, the news a few years ago, Brian. Holly Springs is getting onto this now.
2021 is when Wake County passed its county-wide non-discrimination ordinance, and then several municipalities in Wake County passed their own version of the ordinance that basically allowed the county to enforce that ordinance in town limits. Holly Springs in 2022, it came up, but there was opposition from the town council. Then they peppered the town attorney with a lot of questions about the scope of it, how it would work, and they moved forward without it despite a lot of protests from the community. Tonight, they're taking it up again in 2026, waiting for that town council meeting to begin right now. WRAL's Eric Miller is there. Look for updates through the evening on WRAL.com and the WRAL News app, and of course tonight here on our news at 10 and 11.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brian. Let's get you caught up now on some of today's other big headlines. These are the 5 things you should know right now. Deputies are searching for a man they say shot a driver in Durham County. Sky 5 here over the scene around noon today. This is at South Miami Boulevard and TW Alexander Drive. Investigators say this all started on Globe Road there, where a man fired multiple rounds into another car, sending that driver to the hospital. The shooter got into his car, possibly a black Mustang or a Camaro, and took off. Deputies are still looking for him. The husband of the woman accused of killing one of her 2 children and trying to kill the other says the whole thing was a mental health crisis. He also says the second child is expected to be okay. Andrea Faust appeared in court today from a hospital bed because officials say she tried to take her own life in jail. Prosecutors asked the judge for her to be placed on suicide watch when she is well enough to leave the hospital. Faust is charged with first-degree murder. You can hear more of her husband's emotional testimony on WRAL.com. Another measles case has been reported in North Carolina. This one not in our area. The total, though, in the state now, 22 since December. 2 of them are in our area, one in Johnston County, the other in Nash County. Attorney General Jeff Jackson says FEMA is not complying with a court order to reinstate money for disaster prevention. In December, a federal judge ruled FEMA did not have the authority to cancel that $200 million, which was already approved by Congress. The judge ordered FEMA to release that money, but Jackson's office says they haven't done that. It hasn't happened yet. We reached out to FEMA asking about this, get some of the details. We have not heard back. We'll keep checking. Another part of our area is dealing with widespread water issues. The town of Pittsboro says a large water main break is causing some low water pressure and outages in the area. This is mostly near the Lowe's Home Improvement Store off of Hillsborough Street. We can say crews are working to make repairs.
It is time for a segment that we like to call Developing Story. With a growing area like ours, we like to keep track of all the new stuff that's being built. And there is a lot of new stuff in the works, from Raleigh to Wilson and beyond. This is a behind-the-scenes look at the North Carolina Museum of History. The museum closed last year for a $180 million renovation project. They're in the demolition phase. The project should be done in about 2 years. This one's a big deal. In Wilson, the demolition phase is underway at the Parkwood Wilson Mall. The mall has been mostly vacant for about a decade. The city bought the property back in 2023, I should say, and will develop it into a stormwater facility. And construction is underway to expand the road to RDU. You can expect changes in the pickup and drop-off lanes in the near future. All that stuff appears to be on schedule. But tonight, we're going to talk about another project, one that might not get built, at least not for a while. The plan to build 160 affordable housing units in downtown Raleigh. In Moore Square, it's on hold. The developer just pulled out. So I guess we should adjust that little intro to this segment, right? Yeah, I think that's better. Construction probably not happening anytime soon. This is what the development would have looked like. We got these renderings back in 2024. The plan has been around for a while. 160 housing units plus retail and restaurants, all to be built on city-owned land. We wanted to know why the project fell through, why the developer decided to not follow through. I went to downtown Raleigh to talk with WRAL's Flynn Snyder about what happened here. Flynn, most people know what's behind us, right? We've got Marvel's Children's Museum and the public square at Moore Square, but what we're focusing on here is the southeast corner, and this blighted corner near the middle school.
Yeah, Martin and Person Streets is the site of a proposed mixed-use development here that really included plans for a boutique hotel, at one point a residential high-rise, and most importantly, what city officials have their minds on is the affordable housing apartments that were planned here as well.
But things seem to have stalled, so what's going on?
They have. So today what we are reporting on is the city is essentially putting on pause plans for that affordable housing development. There were supposed to be 160 affordable units right off Moore Square. We learned, though, that the city has put that on pause after the developer basically did not execute a lease for the site. They basically just didn't sign the paperwork in time.
So they haven't signed the paperwork. Does that mean the deal is totally dead?
It doesn't mean it's dead yet. We talked with several city council members today who expressed disappointment in the fact that this project isn't further along than they had hoped at this point, but they say that conversations with the developer are ongoing. They're not sure exactly what the final decision will be from the developer, and we really haven't gotten an answer as to why this project was not taken off on time. There was supposed to be a groundbreaking already by this point, so it's really up in the air, but the city says the conversations are still ongoing.
Is this really an example of just how hard it is to get these affordable housing units off the ground?
Yeah, we talked with one city council member this morning who said, housing in downtown is challenging just in the first place with expensive, property values and everything like that. But the city actually owns these two parcels that are in question now. They say that helps a little bit, but he says it does go to show that, it can prove some challenges, and this is just an example of that.
Okay, so stalled, but not necessarily dead yet. I know you'll keep following it. Thanks, Flynn.
Thanks, Ashley.
Now let's say the developer didn't back out, that this project in Moore Square was full steam ahead. 160 affordable housing units would really only make a dent in Wake County's affordable housing crisis. Wake County says its goal is to create 2,500 affordable housing units by the year 2029. Last year, they created or preserved 660 of them, saying that they are ahead of schedule. But a 2023 report from Wake County shows it has an affordable housing deficit of, get this, more than 65,000 units. So even if they reached their goal tomorrow, the county would still need tens of thousands of units. The 160 units in Moore Square represent one small step in a much larger journey.
From housing to emergency response, Wake County is stretched to the point where, moving forward, not everybody gets an ambulance. We'll explain how dispatchers decide who makes the cut.
It keeps patients that don't need to go out to the emergency department out of the emergency department.
Plus, the Reverend Jesse Jackson and his many ties to North Carolina, like the time he came to Raleigh to announce a run for president. When WRAL News at 7 continues.
And do you see that 75 in Dallas? We could get there this week. I'll have the timing of the warm-up and when better rain chances will put an end to that coming up.
Welcome back. Great to have you with us. We're minutes away from tonight's installment of the Olympic Zone. We got a quick look at the medal count here for the Olympic Games so far. Norway still in first place, followed by Italy in second. Team USA holding on in third place right now with 21 total medals.
Hey, coming up in Olympic Zone, we take a tour of the mountain huts of the Dolomites and check out a hidden Leonardo da Vinci treasure. That's right after this newscast at 7:30.
9 out of 10 calls that we respond to don't require a life-saving critical intervention. That is your quote of the day, and it's coming from Jonathan Studnick, the director of Wake County EMS. He's talking about the overwhelming number of 911 calls that come in every single day and night. Right now, EMS sends ambulances on a first-come, first-served basis. But you just heard from Studnick, and what he said, most of those calls don't actually need an ambulance. That's why Wake County is making a change. If 911 calls surge, the agency will only send an ambulance to the person in the most critical need. So, how do they decide who is the most in need of critical care? Only on WRAL, Carly Haynes explains how it will work.
This is a response to the surge in population growth here in Wake County. They've increased the budget, they've increased staff, they've increased the number of stations, and now they're changing their approach.
That patient that looks red right there, that they get that ambulance first because they need that ambulance right away.
Wake County EMS Director Jonathan Spudnick shows us the emergencies they respond to.
This slide right here, I think, really helps highlight
Some less critical than others.
those are very important calls because people need help, but they don't require a time-critical life-saving intervention.
That's why the agency is moving away from a first-come, first-served approach. Wake County EMS currently averages about 380 calls for service a day. Yet for every 10 people who call 911, only one is considered to have a life-threatening emergency. The new approach ensures that person gets the quickest response, even if they weren't the first caller.
It keeps patients that don't need to go out to the emergency department out of the emergency department.
911, catching an emergency.
When you call 911, a medically trained dispatcher will triage over the phone. If all that's needed is a quick trip to the doctor, a nurse navigator may take over. Otherwise, ambulance timing may depend on your needs.
I could imagine some people being a little scared of that, being worried that nobody will come to them. How are you reassuring those folks?
Help will be on the way, right? The purpose of this prioritization process is to make sure that the sickest patient gets the quickest response and that all patients get a reliable response.
Wake County EMS will be holding a series of community meetings throughout the next month, about 7 in total around different parts of Wake County for people to ask questions. Partial implementation roll out in March with full implementation in May. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, Wake County.
Thank you to Carly. Now, if you want some more details on how this will all work, you can see those by heading to WRAL.com. And we have a breakdown there on the 4 different emergency levels and the estimated ambulance arrival time for each.
You know, I got to spend some time in downtown Raleigh this afternoon. There were so many people out and about. I think everybody's just trying to make up for the lost time from earlier in January when it was so cold. Now we've got some nice warm up.
Warm weather pretty much all week long, and then we go back to winter. So don't put away your jackets, your sweaters just yet. We're not settled in. It's still February after all, but we'll enjoy the warm up this week. This is why we've got this ridge of high pressure building in, and that's going to nudge the jet stream to the north, and a warming southwest wind will keep temperatures climbing. We hit 70 tomorrow, as well as Thursday and Friday, with temperatures well above normal for this time of year. But the cold air begins to invade by the end of the weekend, and it'll be with us early next week. We're talking lows in the 20s once again. Here comes our next weather maker. It's a cold front that's coming our way. The cloud cover out ahead of it, you can already see pretty thick cloud cover moving into North Carolina. That's going to be in place during the day tomorrow. And then as we head into the end of the week, there will be considerable cloud cover. So just don't expect to see a whole lot of sun with the warmer weather, but there could be a few periods of time where we get to see that. Thursday, just a couple of showers out there, mainly in our northern counties. It would be very light. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all feature about a 40% chance of rain. The exact timing and location of that rain to be determined, so just stay tuned for updates. We know we're going to have a cold front nearby, but we don't know exactly where it's going to slow down and get stuck. For now, we're watching Thursday first, and that's where we'll have our first front, the warm front, toward the northern part of our viewing area. That's why there could be some very light rain in our northern counties Thursday. Friday, the cold front is going to make an attempt at passing through, and that'll bring in the chance for showers closer to the front. Could be up to 1/4 inch of rain perhaps on Friday. Not looking like the washout that we had on Sunday any day this week as of now. Tomorrow, milder at breakfast, just 53 degrees to start the day. Pretty comfortable. Keep in mind our normal high this time of year is 57. So that's a pretty warm number for breakfast. Lunchtime, 63 and blustery outside. And by dinner time, mid-60s, very mild and mostly cloudy. Tomorrow, we'll have a southwest wind driving highs into the low to mid-70s. There are a couple of upper 60s out there, mainly in our northern counties that we'll keep an eye on. But overall, it'll be a nice day. We're still sitting in the mid-50s at this hour, even 50 in Boone in February. That's how significant this warm-up is. During the day tomorrow, a lot of cloud cover, but dry during the day. And then as we head into tomorrow night, there could be some rain up toward the Virginia border. That'll be the case Thursday as well. But again, it's going to be very patchy and very light for Thursday. Better rain chances are likely to come this weekend, and that'll come with the passage of our next cold front. High temperatures are in the 70s, lows in the 50s for the next 3 days. And then temperatures start to back off again starting this weekend. By next week, highs are back in the upper 40s, lows are back in the upper 20s. We snap right back to reality.
Right back to it.
Can I read a funny email that we got tonight
Yeah.
from a viewer named George? So people write in 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. George wrote, guys, I have noticed that whenever Dan and or Ashley stand next to Kat, it appears that either they are quite tall or Kat is very short.
George!
Am I seeing this right? So, I mean,
The answer is all of the above.
we're giants.
Here's what people don't understand. I am very petite, but we play a little TV trick on people at home, and the graphics behind me, we scale down compared to when Mike Mays stands up at the same wall and does weather.
Yeah.
So it kind of plays a little trick on the eye.
And here's another trick. Whenever Kat comes over to the desk, I take off my shoes.
You're so sweet.
All
There you
right.
have it.
Now
still
you
have mine
know
on.
the tricks of TV. All right. Reverend Jesse Jackson, the civil rights icon, had more ties to North Carolina than you might think. He went to college here, played quarterback here, even announced his run for president here. His life and legacy. And one last thing after the break.
For tonight's one last thing, we want to honor the life of Jesse Jackson. As you probably know, he died today at the age of 84.
He is one of the icons of the civil rights movement, working alongside Martin Luther King Jr. Jackson was born in Greenville, South Carolina, but he had many ties to North Carolina, too.
He graduated from North Carolina A&T in Greensboro. He was the quarterback of the football team, served as the chapter president of Omega Psi Phi, the fraternity there. Jackson graduated in 1964 with a sociology degree, moved to Chicago, where he then attended seminary.
Jackson ran for president 2 times in the 1980s. It was in 1987 that he came to Raleigh to announce his candidacy for the Democratic nomination. He spoke at the Civic Auditorium. Jackson was the first black man to run for the U.S. presidency. He did not advance past the Democratic primaries, but he performed well, winning 11 states in 1988, garnering millions of votes.
Jackson often returned to the Tar Heel State here to North Carolina. This is some video of him during a trip to Duke University, talking to students about the power of voting. He called everyone to the stage who was not registered to vote, and then the staff helped those students to register.
Jackson was in Greensboro when the city opened the International Civil Rights Center and Museum. The museum is in the same building where the Woolsworth used to be, the place where 4 North Carolina A&T students sat in at the segregated lunch counter, launching a nationwide student movement.
All day we've been sharing the words of people who knew Jesse Jackson, prominent people who respected and admired him. But we wanted to end this newscast with some of Jackson's words. We want to share a portion of a speech from his 1984 Democratic National Convention.
Thank you for watching WRAL News at 7. Have a great night. We leave you with this lasting message from Reverend Jesse Jackson.
America's not like a blanket, one piece of unbroken cloth, the same color, the same texture, the same size. America's more like a quilt, many patches, many pieces, many colors, many sizes, all woven and held together by a common thread. The white, the Hispanic, the black, the Arab, the Jew, the woman, the Native American, the small farmer, the business person, the environmentalist, the peace activist, the young, the old, the lesbian, the gay, and the disabled make up the American quilt. Even in our fractured state, all of us count and fit somewhere. We have proven that we can survive without each other, but we have not proven that we can win and make progress without each other. We must come together.